So this is, are you able to see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So this is the presentation prepared by DGCA Aviation, actually customized for the maintenance personnel. But as you're all going to be into different fields of aviation, and most of the stuff is applicable to every one of us. Okay, so we'll just go through and stop wherever some important or stuff which needs to be discussed, we'll discuss, or else we'll just go through that. Okay. Okay. Now, human factor training program. In this presentation, we have categorized the complete presentation into the 4 modules. The first thing is about the meaning of human factors. So human factor is about people in their living and working situations, about their relationships with machines, with procedures, and with the environment about them, and also about the relationships with other people. The study of human factors is about understanding human behavior and performance. When applied to aviation operations, human factors knowledge is used to optimize the fit between people and the systems in which they work in order to improve safety and performance of the aircraft. Human factors identify the capabilities and limitations of humans and then adopt the human or system components accordingly. So this is the complete, summary of what is exactly human factors about. It is nothing but interaction of the people with the working situations, with the environment, with your machines, with the procedures, with your fellow personnel. And the study of human factors is essential to know about the behavior and our performance according to the behavior. So when you apply it to aviation, it will allow us to optimize the interaction between the people and the system. And also the human factors will be able to identify what are the capabilities and limitations of human beings, and then how to adopt this to the system. Conceptual model of human factors. Human factors can simply be defined as interaction of people with people, that is, with your fellow colleagues or others in the team. Procedures, what procedures you are following, machines and environment around them. It is helpful to use a model to aid in the understanding of human factors, as this allows a gradual approach to the comprehension. So to know how this complete human factors, behavior, performance works, so we will try to understand through a model which will allow us to understand better how the complete things are interacting with each other. So the very famous model in aviation is called Shell model. Shell model is a CRM, that is resource management tool, that clarifies the scope of aviation human factors and assists in understanding the relationship between aviation systems and the human component. The model considers several contextual and task-related factors that interact with human operations within the aviation system. The model consists of 5 building blocks. Each block contains the initial letter of its components, like shell. Shell, S stands for software, H stands for hardware, E stands for environment, and L stands for liveware. So now the same thing in a we can understand two different videos also presented. So what we see is, when we take this model of shell model says that it is basically the 4 elements. One is the software. Software is what? Software is like your procedures, maybe your procedure sheets, your SOPs, like standard operating procedures, your checklists. All these things are the software which you are not going to be part of your interaction with the physical things. They are not a physical thing, like what machine you are going to handle, that is a hardware. So software is like your procedures, instructions, checklists, etc. Hardware is the actual items which you are going to work with. So it may be your aircraft and also the tools, test equipment, test rigs. So all the hardware which a human being in aviation is going to interact with. How he is going to interact with this hardware? Using the software. Because how to use a particular tool, how to do a particular test, how to perform a particular procedure. So all those things are available in the software element of the shell module. Then comes the environment. So what is environment? Environment is where you are working. Suppose you are a maintenance personnel, you are working inside the hangar, you are working in a shop floor, you are working on the ramp, you are working inside a congested fuel tank or some other area of the aircraft. That environment. That environment is not only the hangar or the ramp or this thing, also your office space, your rest area, your workspace, your workstation, even if you are in administration or HR, how your table is, how your workstation is, how you have the resources available to you, and how is the weather. If you are working into an inclement weather in the open area, you are exposed to sun, you are exposed to rain, you are exposed to severe weather. If you are working inside the hangar, so all these elements come under the environment. Then comes the liveware. So liveware is the one which is the interaction of the human being with all these elements. Interaction of liveware with software, interaction of the liveware with the hardware, interaction of the liveware with the environment. So as a human being, if you are into a maintenance activity, irrespective of what type of activity you have, you are going to be basically involved with these elements. And that is why it is known as the conceptual model of human factors. So to know the brief things, there are some uh, small videos which you can watch later, so that you will get a better understanding of what is human factors and how it is involved and how we are evolving a different training programs to improve our human factor performance. So these are the links for the some of the videos which will give you more insight into the human factors activity. So now let's talk about the industry need for human factor training. In the introduction, as I told, we need human factor training. It is very essential, irrespective of your work area, your specialized training about your activity, your job role. We need to have a human factors training to establish a positive airline safety culture. Here we have talked in terms of generic airline. It may be a maintenance organization, it may be a marketing company, it may be only ticketing outsourcing, whatever. It may be a security organization involved in the aviation services. So whatever culture you are going to work, it will give a positive culture to improve well-being of operational personnel. So human factors will definitely help the well-being of all the personnel involved in the aviation. It helps to identify and recognize, understand what are the human performance issues, what factors are going to affect the performance of human beings in the aviation. So this human factor training will help us to identify all these factors. Then awareness about human factor issues that affect job performance. As we said, the job performance can greatly be affected based on the human factors. How the human factor can be psychological, physical, lot of different elements are there that we'll see in detail when we go to the next slides. Then, as we said in the beginning, the human errors are inevitable. They cannot be avoided in totality. Only thing, all efforts have to be made to make the error reduction due to human factors. So that is our main aim of correcting, but we forget to do. Likewise, one more thing is that there may be a procedure sheet checklist you are signing. So you keep on signing point A to E, A, B, C, D, E. E you have not done, but you think, oh, I'm going to close the panel. Let me sign it first, then I'll close the panel. And let us say sometimes somebody distracts you over a phone, or you get a call from your boss saying that, okay, immediately you have to attend the call, and you, in the meantime, you forget to close that. But whereas what you have done, you have already actioned that in the procedure sheet. You have signed having closed that, but you didn't close. So these are when you confirmed all the things. I never ever compromise on any standards. The standards laid down are mandatory to be followed. Norms. Norms is what? Norms is normally. So what we normally do is a norm. They are unwritten rules that are followed or tolerated by most of the organizations. So the easiest way of accomplishing them is not to be in the standard. So what happens is there may not be a procedure written, there may not be a standardized written instructions available, but it is a norm. Norm is, but everybody is doing that. Everybody tells in the organization. He also does that. I also do that. So following norms can also lead to problems, because you should always follow the standards. Norms have to be always standardized. So again, we have a link for watching some videos on this topic of second module on errors, like I have seen intentional errors, unintentional errors, lapses, slips. Then we have discussed the dirty dozen, all the factors which lead to human factor errors. So this is all about our module 2. If you are comfortable, we will quickly run through the next module, or if you want to have something, interrupt something and ask on the errors on any of the topic we discussed, you may please uh, ask me. We can pause and discuss that. Okay. Hope all good. So keep noting. If you have any doubts, we can even to bring up a good procedure, make some standard operating procedure, how to do this. So I'll put all ideal things in that. I'll make a procedure. But down the line, if somebody is using it, if they are facing some problem in implementing that, if that is not brought out to the designer, then only the designer will come to know, okay, when practically implementing, this problem is happening. Based on the positive feedback loop system, there can be revisions, there can be some additional steps, some things can be modified. That is the reason the feedback and reward system should be existing in an organization, and always individuals' performance as well as individuals' contribution to team performance should be respected and rewarded. Staffing, you should have skill diversity, because in a particular task you may require different type of people. It is not that for one activity you may require a power plant engineer, you may require an avionics engineer to carry out the test at the end, or you may require an airframe specialist to do some retraction checks. So your staffing should be as per the talent and knowledge skill requirement. Then only the aircraft maintenance can go on smoothly. So again, we have a link for a couple of videos about the human factors in aviation maintenance. With this, we come to the end of module 3. So hope all fine. Then we'll go to our last module, that is social psychology. This is very important, because this is nothing but your human performance, how the human performance will get evolved with different factors. Those aspects we'll see in this module. Social psychology, peer performance. In the environment of aircraft maintenance, there are many pressures brought to bear on the individual technician, including the possibility that he will receive pressures from those that work with him. This is known as peer pressure. So peer pressure is what? Within the work environment, within the organization, within the shift, maybe within the shift. Sometimes you may be given a certification of 3 aircraft, but the peer pressure may be somebody may be able to outperform, somebody may be able to do this. There will be a peer pressure among the teammates also, that you have to understand. Teamwork, and as you know, the teamwork can be achieved with the output of the we were discussing earlier. The same thing is that successful teamwork is achieved when the output of the team is greater than the output of the combined efforts of the individual members. So that's what we said. If X, three members are contributing individually, the combined teamwork effort output should be greater than 3x. So we should always encourage to contribute very effective way for the overall task for the complete team. So teamwork is very essential in today's world, because you need to get along with other members of the team in a very cordial manner. Leadership. See, leadership is a very essential quality, because as a leader, when you are able to demonstrate yourself to your the team members, then only the team will get motivated. That is why a leader in a given this thing is, you should have ideas and influence the behavior of the team. So your ideas and your motivation should influence the other team members. So ensure that goals and targets uh, need to be achieved or clearly communicated to the team. Being a leader, it should not be that you are aware of everything, what is the ultimate output to be given, what is the timelines to be followed, how it is to be done. But if you don't discuss all those details with your team members, they may not be in line with your thought process. That is the reason the leadership sleep, there are different stages, because this happens only in the shifts. When somebody is fatigued, when somebody is already uh, exhausted, not having enough rest, not having a correct diet, exercise. So the non-rapid eye movement sleep, this is called non-rapid eye movement, and that is in four stages that has been explained here. What is stage 1, what is stage 2, what is stage 3, what is stage 4. So that is stage 1. It lasts just for 1 to 7 minutes initially, and it will be just 2 to 5% of your total sleep, easily interrupted by a disruptive noise. Suddenly आपको कोई आवाज सुनाई देगा, you will get disrupted in the stage 1. In the stage 2, what happens after that? After stage 1, when you go to stage 2, slowly your body temperature drops, your heartbeat slows down, your brain begins to induce sleep signals, and this will approximately last for 10 to 25 minutes in the initial cycle, and as the cycles repeat, this will lengthen, and this constitutes almost 50% of the total sleep. So after stage 1, you go to the stage 2 of the non-rapid eye movement sleep. In the next stage, from stage 2 to stage 3, it only lasts for a few minutes, and this is only 3 to 8% of your total sleep. Muscles relaxes and blood pressure normalizes, your breathing rate drops, and that is the time when you get into the deepest sleep. So in the NRM stage 3, you fall into the deep sleep, and in the stage 4, this threshold is higher for the stage 4. It lasts 20 to 40 minutes, and it keeps on increasing as the cycle increases, and it makes up to 10 to 15% of your total sleep time. And stage 3 and stage 4 are collectively known as slow wave speed. So this is based on studies. It is being said that the non-rapid eye movement sleep, how it happens initially, how it happens, stage 2, how it happens, because this is mostly relevant when you are working in the shifts, and that too, shifts also will involve not a constant shift. Sometimes people are uh, made to work in shift over a period of time, then they change a shift. And that is the period when your body biologically doesn't respond immediately when you go from one shift to other, like from morning to day shift to night shift to day shift. So most of the aircraft maintenance, as you know, it happens in the night time. That is, mostly it happens in the night time, because the most of the operations happen in the morning hours. Operations happen from morning 6 to, let us say, 10, and the maintenance activities on the ground happens, shift, because morning operations are there. The maintenance personnel have to do the ramp operations, and in the night whatever maintenance activity and any attending of snacks, rectifications, routine work packages, all those things are done. That is the reason most of the airlines activities, maintenance activity is in shifts, and the aircraft maintenance tech shift can work roles shifts. That is, as we said earlier, it changes from one shift to other. जैसे कि from day shift to night shift, then the internal clock is not immediately reset because your biological internal clock is not immediately adapting to the physical shift which you are getting into. So when rotating in the shift, it is important to be disciplined with your eating habits and sleeping habits because that will help you to cope up with your biological clock. Although most adapt to shift working, it becomes harder to work as we grow elder and elder. So as we get older and older, the adaptability becomes very good idea that you start cultivating this not only in aviation. These human factors will help you in your day-to-day life. Like what you had been talking is about your stress management. Tell me, is it required or not? In your day-to-day life also it is required. How do you deal with the stress? The stress may not be only in aviation. You are like maybe a college student. You're studying and you don't take things seriously for the complete semester. At the end, when the exams are hovering on your head, you get stressed, right? So stress is in every aspect of our life, in domestic life, in our professional life, everywhere. So first, you should avoid inducing stress on yourself. That is self-created. Don't stress yourself because of your own reason. So good thing is have a good diet, have a good exercise, have a good rest. That is the one thing. Second thing is always be open to learn things. Always be systematic, be procedural. In aviation, it is very, very essential that you always follow the laid down procedure. We always say you may be having ample number of years of experience. When you are performing an activity, just don't do anything based on your memory. Maybe every step of that activity is known to you, you have memorized, you had been working on it for years together, but always we say follow the checklist. Even the flight crew, they operate, pilots operate in a day maybe 5, 6 sectors. So let us say after a period of 15 years, how many sectors they might have operated. But for every operation, they are supposed to follow the checklist. And the checklist and response is always followed. The main intention of that is you don't miss out any point in the procedure. So that is very important. And as far as aviation is concerned, it is more and more about documentation and adherence to documentation. It is not that documents are created, they're kept aside, or only when some inspection is there, people bring out and see, and not to be followed in day to day. In aviation, all the literature, what is available, is required to be followed for the activity what you are doing. So try to cultivate this habit. This is good in your day-to-day life also. Whatever you are doing, try to do as per the procedure. Don't just simply get onto the complacency. It will allow you to get into lethargy and the casualness will creep into your day-to-day life. So it is a good practice to follow systems, procedures, laid down instructions. That will always lead to a correct thing. Then we followed about the stress. Now we talked about complacency, fatigue. Don't get fatigued. You should allow enough rest and don't keep things pending up to the last. Pressure handling has to be there in the modern world. Only thing, you be very good communicative skills. Sometimes if you're not communicating properly with your managers, your supervisors, some task has made you come across some bottleneck. If you don't communicate the bottleneck to your next superior, they will feel everything is fine. And what happens, let's say some aircraft has arrived at night 12 o'clock. It's actually arrival time was night 10 o'clock. Usually happens because most of the last arrivals in aviation, always because of the cumulative delays, they always arrive beyond their scheduled arrival time. So usually what happens, the planner might have seen, okay, we have a downtime of 6 hours before the aircraft is going for the next operation. We have a layover period of more than 6 hours. We'll undertake this task. Or some defect may be there which has been carried forward, which can be deferred, and we want to undertake this. And because the aircraft arriving late, you will not know how many factors will affect, because some manpower which has been planned for this may be now routed to some other location, because there may be some early departure, or some tools and equipments may be getting redistributed. Many factors which are not in your control may sometimes involve, and you will be subjected to pressure, because as the timeline narrows down, your mind will be under stress. Yeah, the aircraft is to be offered to the line for flight, and I have not yet prepared this aircraft. This aircraft is not ready. So, if any bottlenecks, if anything is there, always communicate with your subordinates, seniors, and your fellow colleagues, so that everybody is in line with the communication, same frequency. If required, you may get additional manpower, or they may plan something. But working under pressure may lead to unnecessarily not following some procedures, or skipping the procedure sheets, or signing off something which has not been completed. As I said, a procedure has got 7 steps. You have completed 6 steps. The last step is just close the panel, clear the tools. Before doing that, you have signed it. Meantime, somebody said aircraft is ready now. Connect the tow bar, and aircraft has to move. You forgot to collect a small spanner or screwdriver. And just imagine if it happens to be a area where it is involving uh, flight controls or engine controls, and during a crucial phase of flight, if it entangles into, how it can lead to a catastrophic situation. This you might not imagine, because you have not done intentionally. Your intention was to offer the aircraft on time, but that good intention has made you to compromise some of the procedure, unintentional, but compromise has been done. So always, if any catastrophic accident happens, it is not by single mistake. It is always a sequence of errors, adding one after other to each of them, and it can lead to a very, very big incident or accident. So let us be safety conscious. Aviation, the first requirement is you should be safety conscious. Safety is utmost. In aviation, safety is utmost. So, safety conscious attitude will help you to develop your, very structured personality, to follow the laid down procedures, to follow the guidelines, to get yourself acquainted with the required procedures, knowledge, skill, and how to go along in a team, because teamwork is also very important when you work in an organization. How to go in a team. Sometimes you may be a very good person working individually on a particular task, but when you are asked to perform on a team, sometimes there are many factors which affect. Sometimes hesitation, sometimes showing superiority, or sometimes the other person in the team may not be cordial with you. So dealing with all these things will definitely evolve in developing your personality. So that's what I'm talking. In addition to this, anything you want to know about in general about aviation or aviation regulation or aviation maintenance, you are free to ask me, or then I'll ask Sachin to continue if you don't have anything. But I would like to listen if anything you want to know, eager to know anything.
Since last few weeks. But of course, that participation, I know that there may be various reasons, like they have been slightly apprehensive in speaking out of their minds. But I hope they have been getting it, and it was really great to listen the insight of human factor from you, sir. And thank you for sparing your valuable time. I hope and I am sure that they all must have, even we all got enriched our knowledge in this field. Everyone, we have been reading, we have gone through these exercises, but again, now and then, whenever the experiences we confront with, it widens our knowledge base. Thank you for your time, sir. I will say, Mr. Sachin, if he has got anything to say, with, and then Dibyani, she can take over, and then we can go ahead with the remaining things. Thank you again, sir, for your time.
Thank you all. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity, and thank you all
Thank you, sir.
participants. And
Thank you
wish
so
you
much,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
all the best
Thank you
for
so
your
much, sir.
future in aviation, your careers in aviation.
Thank you, sir.
But I will definitely recommend and say be interactive, because sometimes hesitation and things keeping up to you also is not good. It will improve your personality. Very interactive discussions are good. It is helpful for all of us. Okay, thank you all, and
Thank you, sir.
thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
sir.
sir.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
for
Good
giving.
day.
Thank you, sir.
Good day.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Not only it is now that once you join any of the organization, they will be also there also you may go have to undergo the training of similar kind. So it becomes a slightly monotonous, but still I will urge you people that these are really important things. One is the human factor, another is your SMS, because the core knowledge, what we derive, what we achieve, what we try to get in our life, it's always good that we feel that okay, these are the specialized knowledge or my core area. I must enhance, I must build up my knowledge in that area. But these are the things which we discussed today, like the SMS, human factors. These go in line with our core knowledge and the professionalism. They cannot be kept aside, and we can learn, because yes, we can learn, we can enhance our knowledge, but once we put it into practical, those knowledges, our skills, and if they lack these platforms, the SMS platform and the human factors platform, we may not be able to do our duties efficiently. And we, I'm not intending to say, but again, we will be prone to land up in the area or in the situation which may be troublesome for our life. So once you people may be starting your career in the aviation, and some of you might have already started. So again, my emphasis will be there that yes, you increase your knowledge, you increase your professionalism, but simultaneously don't ignore these aspects, because these are the vital parts of the aviation. Okay, thank you for today's thing. I think we have covered it all, and we'll see that how tomorrow we go ahead. So I think Mr. Biani and Sachinji, they can take over and they can brief you for tomorrow's plan of action.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Biani.
We'll
Thank you.
share.
Okay.
Thank you,
So
sir.
in
Thank
that
you,
Thank you,
case,
sir.
sir.
today we will call it off. Take care, everyone. We can have a session tomorrow. We'll see.